Britain stands with Israel.
Bring them home! Bring them home! Bring them home! Bring them home!
My sister-in-law, and the news filtered through that she had been killed. She went for a run from Yad Mordechai to Netiv Asara. She was shot in the back and shot in the head from zero range.
Bring them home! Bring them home! Bring them home!
I'm in London for about 16 days already. No, 14 days. I escaped from Otef Aza. I live there. I was born there. I'm 56 years old. This is my house. I went the Friday. Friday. I had some friends in my house. We had a nice Shabbat meal. Saturday morning, 6:15, my son wakes me up and tells me to run into the shelter. Me, my husband, my son, and my dog ran into the shelter because of bombing. We didn't know yet that the terrorists have entered Israel. Then we started to hear guns shooting, and we have a community WhatsApp of our moshav, and then we got the message to stay in the shelter because of the terrorists got inside. We stayed in the shelter for 7 hours, frightened the hell. We didn't have a gun, we didn't have a pistol, we didn't have anything. We only had a kitchen knife to protect us because we knew that the door of the shelter will not be closed enough, that the terrorists can open the door. Sunday morning, we've been told we have to leave the place. 2 o'clock, they took us out with the army, the people from the Moshav En Absor. We went through the fields, not from the main way, through the fields, like in the Holocaust, when we were running out from the Germans. We went to the center of Israel. There we slept for 2 hours. We took a flight to Rhodes, Greece. There we waited for 12 hours until we find a flight to London to come to be with my brother and sister-in-law. We arrived 4 o'clock in the morning. Me, my son, and my husband. My dog stayed there for until now, completely frightened. We don't know what happened with her. I still didn't cry. I still keep myself strong. Approximately 40 of my friends are dead already, but I didn't cry yet because I don't have time for it. I'm blocked with my feelings, so I'm looking forward to go back to my house, my new beautiful big house in the south, which I love so much. But something very important I want to tell you about the humanity of our army. 6,000 bombs were dropped. That means that 600,000 Palestinians should have been dead until now. Maybe 2,000 died. Not that it's good, but it shows how humanity, our army, and our government. So I want to finish by saying I'm proud to be Israeli. I will not be afraid going with flag. I will not be afraid saying that I'm a Jew. I'm a Jew, I'm a proud Jew, I'm a proud Israeli.
I'm Israeli and my husband is Australian. It's a very unique circumstances for me because it's the first time I felt like a refugee myself. I felt on one hand very, very scared. On the other hand, very lucky that I can actually take a break from the war, especially when I have a young child. And we did it especially for her. If I didn't have a young child, I would still be in Israel. But just to give us some sort of sense of peace and not going to the bomb shelter every 5 minutes, was very important for us. So I felt sad, I felt lucky. But I must say, I still feel a bit unsafe, even being in London. Because as it always feels like the people who are more into the division and the hate, we are outnumbered, and there's more emphasis towards the hate and discriminating and going against Israel and its actions. So I'm still feeling unsafe, I must say. I'm even hosting a mom and her daughter in my apartment at the moment. They needed a shelter because not every house in Israel has a shelter. So we have a shelter, so we have a mom and daughter staying at our apartment so they can have an easy access to a shelter when there is a siren. So I think it's light. You can see the light in this very, very dark moment.
Why we're here? For so many reasons. Firstly, just to remind the world of the atrocities perpetrated on October 7th. Remind the world that these fascist jihadist terrorist group kidnap babies, old people, civilians from their homes, from a party, and now they're keeping more than 200 innocent people in Gaza in conditions that we can't even fathom. It's beyond anyone's imagination, worst nightmares. This is how they've been held. So we're here to remind the world, to remind London, who let 100,000 Hamas protesters yesterday march in the streets of this amazing city in calling for the destruction of Israel when they chant from the river to the sea, Gaza will be free. This is nothing short of the annihilation of Israel and the killing of Jews, all Jews living in Israel. And we are here to say this, not only that this will not happen, but we will fight. We will fight for our freedom. We will fight, by the way, to liberate Gaza from Hamas. I think the Palestinians deserve much more than Hamas. Hamas is keeping hostage not just 200 Israelis, but 2 million civilians that are suffering under the Hamas fascist regime.
We see 100,000 people chanting yesterday pro-Palestine, but as well as really unsettling, anti-Semitic at times words, and just wanted to be able to show my support for Israel, show that people are supporting Israel, show that what's going on, the terrorism that's been inflicted on the Israeli people is not okay. Neither is the humanitarian situation on both sides, but I think it's important that it's not a black and white issue and that people can see what is really going on.
We have a defense team of 12 and we had 60 terrorists trying to get into the kibbutz. They came in through the back gate, they slaughtered the foreign workers that we have such a good relationship with, went into their bomb-proof room. I can't describe the scene in that room. They came into the residential part of the kibbutz. They had a plan. We found the maps. They knew exactly where they were going. In each kibbutz, they knew to go exactly where the youngsters live. Kfar Aza, the whole area where the youngsters are, was burned, pulled down.
Our Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, thank you for your support.
I personally think the UK government's doing a good job. I think they need to maybe put some pressure on journalism to make sure they know the facts before they say stuff. but I support what Rishi's doing. I think he's been very supportive, which is good.
I think he's given his moral support to Netanyahu the other day when he visited Israel the other day. But I think it's important that he sends a message to the leaders of the world, but to the people in this country, in Britain. This is what I'd like him to see: is for him to argue to stand by Israel. I think that's important. It's an important message to stand by Israel for the British people.
We just hope that you stand firm with Israel, stand in its defence, and ensure and carry on combating anti-Semitism. I mean, it's a great relief, I think, to ask the Jewish community that you are so strong in combating anti-Semitism and having zero tolerance for it. But yesterday we saw some really horrific scenes of people screaming, "Kill Jews," that were on social media, and other phrases that were very distressing. So, I mean, thank you for everything so far, but this is not a one-off. We need this continued support for the Jewish community and for Israel.
And I call also Rishi Sunak to work on maybe building a hospital, just like on the border of Gaza, Israel and Egypt, a hospital like a field hospital. By all the countries of the world, contribute like doctors and medical equipment for the people of Gaza, for the innocent people of Gaza who are not getting the right treatment. We need those innocent, to get the right treatment. It doesn't mean that Israel should not fight, but I call Rishi Sunak to start with actions rather than just words.
The reality is the only way to bring about peace is to have honest and fair conversations, and I think the second that the conversations turn to whataboutery or victim blaming or othering each other, it's a dangerous place to be. I think ultimately peace is the only solution to this. Otherwise it's going to go on and on and on, and it doesn't really matter the history right now. We need to look at going forward, and the only way we can go forward is by getting together and sitting around the table and having that conversation.